Well, you may wonder right here, a lot of times a pitcher had rather pitch to another hitter. Arendas hit the ball hard his first time up. He's 3-0, and he's just tried to make that pitch. Even though you talk about this being the go-ahead run at first base, he'd just soon start all over, and that's why he's making that pitch away. He's not going to give him anything that is going to hurt him early in the count.
3-1 now. He's facing a right-hander here. There's a lefty on deck. And first baseman Steve Estroff.
And that doesn't matter to him. That's one thing that he says, that he doesn't care what the situation is. He's going to throw that slider and go start off with another hitter, a lot like the North Carolina coach. But I talked to him before the game, and he said he's going to throw that slider when he has to throw a strike when the pitcher thinks he's going to throw a fastball.
Breaking ball, base hit left field. 1 run scores. 1 all around third. 2 to the plate, and the game is tied. Dave Arendas' father watching. His son is 2 for 3 today with the 2 biggest RBIs of his career. He took second on the throw. It's a 3-3 game. Looks like the coach's message got through, Ray.
Dennis Fletcher starts that slider again, but he hangs it. Like we said, 3-2. He's going to throw the slider, but he hung the ball right over the plate, and Arendas killed it. Here comes a throw, a real strong throw just up the line. Had that ball been on line, he'd had a shot at the plate.
That was a great scoop by Kurt Pisker, the catcher, on a short hop throw. He made it close when it looked like there would be no chance at all.
What happens as a hitter right there, Dave Arendas saw all those breaking balls. He got to see the rotation and timing. And then although Dennis Fletcher threw him the breaking ball, 3-2, he was right on top of it. Unlike the situation before with Levis when he showed him the breaking ball fastball and got him out with a pitch that he hadn't seen.
2 outs and a pitching change coming up. Right-hander Mike Oquist has been throwing. He will be in for the Razorbacks. In this inning, North Carolina already with a walk, 2 singles, 2 runs scored, another man at second base with 2 down, and the afternoon of Dennis Fletcher will be over after 5 2/3 innings. 3-3 Tar Heels and Razorbacks back to Omaha for the pitching change.
The most acclaimed nature documentary in the history of television is now available on video cassette. Time Life Video and WNET announce the Nature Video Library. The New York Times hails it as television at its most impressive. Your first video adventure takes you to Hawaii, islands of the fire goddess. Hawaii is a land of amazing contrasts. This is Hawaii as few have seen it. Begin your video adventure with Hawaii at the low introductory price of only $9.99 plus shipping and handling. Other exciting video cassettes will follow at only $19.99. Keep only those you want. Cancel at any time.
Credit card customers call 1-800-544-1000 now to get your first video cassette Hawaii at the special introductory price of just $9.99. Or send 1322 to Nature, P.O. Box 121, Plainville, Connecticut. Or call 1-800-544-1000 now.
Well, Tar Heel fans are even prouder to be in the NCAA College World Series now that their team has tied things up with a couple of runs in the top of the 6th inning. So North Carolina definitely back in this one. And Mike Oquist will be the new pitcher, and Arkansas will also make a pitching and catching change as he'll be throwing to Tony Gilmore.
Mike Oquist, 9-5 on the year, 6'2", 170-pound junior. He throws a fastball. It's a 4-seamer, very hard thrower. Likes to throw the ball up in the strike zone. Slider, hard, tight, late breaker. Changeup is a split finger that he throws occasionally. And one interesting note about him is that he was a #1 starter early in the year, Bob, and they changed him over to a reliever because he had some inability early to be consistent. He's really helped this ball club.
9-5 record, 3.56 the ERA for this right-hander. So the Razorbacks were cruising along. They had single runs in the 2nd, 4th, and 5th. Got a big break for that 3rd one in the 5th inning, as Ryan Howison of North Carolina let a bouncing ball on the infield roll around, stays fair. They score 1 hit later. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, it'll be the Texas Longhorns against the Miami Hurricanes. Winners bracket action. Scott Bryant, College Baseball Player of the Year. He will throw in that game, as well as Senor Fernandez from Miami. 15-1, the ERA of way under 2.
And as you mentioned, Tony Gilmore, the catcher, great throwing catcher, outstanding defensive catcher, and he is their #1 catcher, and that's why the move is made here, because he is the guy that catches all the games except usually doubleheaders and Fletcher.
Fastball outside. Steve Estroff 0 for 2 with a grounder and a strikeout. Lead run at second with 2 down. Breaking ball at the letters. Arendas with the big 2-out, 2-run double to equalize here in the 6th inning. Mike Oquist out of La Junta, Colorado. Into the stretch. Fastball ripped but foul down the line. Mike Roberts evidently got his message across before this 6th inning. He gave his team a pretty good verbal beating in the dugout, and they've come out and put a walk and 2 hits together for 2 runs here in the 6th inning. We'll clock him on a ball and 2 strikes. Fake throw with Stillwell, the shortstop, in behind Dave Arendas.
Let's see how much Norm DeBryant knows right here. He says this kid can throw right around 90 miles an hour. So let's see how close the coach is on this pitch, if it's a fastball.
Sequence of signs from Tony Gilmore. Too much time for the hitter. Estroff steps out. At second base, Arendas looking right into the catcher.
It looks like Gilmore is trying to set up a way here, and that indicates to me he's going to try to throw a fastball on the outside part of the plate as he sets up a way, unless he tries to backdoor him with a slider. But
fastball away, way up and way away. 88 miles an hour for the strikeout, and the half inning is over for North Carolina. Tar Heels get back even though. A walk and 2 hits. They leave a runner. They've stranded 3. A tie game in the middle of the 6th.
Mercury introduces Cougar XR7 Supercharger. Speed-sensitive steering. Anti-lock brakes. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
like a Mercury.
I sure have a lot of fun getting this thing dirty on the weekend. We both have to go to work on Monday. Come on, boy.
I don't know where I'd be without Armor All Car Wash. It's great because it doesn't strip off the wax.
And how about this cleaner? It gets all the crud off, and it's great for the interior.
Armor All Car Wash and Armor All Car Cleaner. They do what household products can't, because we're crazy about cars, too.
It's not a car. It's a truck.
Hold on tight for some down and dirty excitement with the highest flying machines next to a 747. AMA Supercross, Thursday night at midnight on ESPN.
Rosenblatt Stadium, Omaha, Nebraska. The only starter left in the ball game now is Michael Hove.
And there's a pitching breakdown there with his pitches. He's thrown 30 fastballs, 31 curveballs, so he mixes up that fastball and curveballs, 8 changeups, and that percentage is the percentage of strikes that he's thrown those pitches. So 53% of his fastballs have been for strikes, and look at that, 68% of his breaking balls are for strikes. So he has ability to get that breaking ball over for strikes.
Good crowd on hand as the Razorbacks and Tar Heels tangle here. Arkansas will send up Don Thomas. And a changeup, swung on and missed, gets the bottom of the 6th inning underway. Thomas doubled a run home in the 2nd, squeezed a run home in the 4th. 1 for 1. Sacrifice on that squeeze. 2 RBIs. Fastball up and away, ball 1.
We mentioned how aggressive Don Thomas is, and little stat here, he swung at 6 of 7 of the first pitches in his bats during the World Series. So he's an aggressive swinger. They call him a hacker because he doesn't get a good pitch to hit, but he just goes up there aggressive.
Breaking ball down and in. Thomas saw it when it was a strike. By the time he swung, it was unhittable. 1-2. Michael Hogue is looking intense out there in his 6th inning of work. Breaking ball up and away, 2-2.
Describing Mike Hogue, Mike Roberts said that he is the best competitor and the most composed player in a fighter. So that's intensity is a great word for him.
Tailed the fastball way outside. Strikeout number 4 for Michael Hogue.
Where you have an aggressive swinger, Michael Hogue knows it. He throws his fastball, it tails away, and that ball's a good 5 inches off the plate, and Thomas swings at it. That's what happens when you have a pitcher that can throw strikes.
Tim Thomas, the hitter, walked his first time, and then went 1 for 1 with a single in the 4th inning. He was erased on a double play ball. Breaking ball comes in through the side door, 0-2. Right-hander Jim Doherty, a starter for North Carolina a couple of weeks ago at the Carolina Invitational. With the way the starter's suddenly throwing here, looks like we may not see the Tar Heel bullpen for a while.
You know, I mentioned throwing strikes, Bob. What I meant to say is ability to locate the pitch where you want to.
Looks like he took a little bit off and got his 5th strikeout.
It's obvious that he can throw strikes, but like in the previous at-bat to Don Thomas, he threw that pitch where he wanted to. It wasn't a strike, but he has ability to throw the ball to spots, and that's what makes him so very effective.
Bases empty, 2 outs. Rod Stillwell, the hitter. Arkansas still had something going in that 4th inning after squeezing a run home. They had 1st and 2nd with 1 out. But Stillwell hit into a 6-4-3, which killed that rally. They added a run in the 5th inning, but then North Carolina answered with 2 in the 6th to tie the game at 3. Razorbacks have out-hit the Tar Heels 8-6. Catches the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike. Right at the shortstop again. Ron Mauer guns out his counterpart. And 4 in a row now retired by Michael Hogue, who gets a couple of strikeouts and works through a 1-2-3 6th inning. On to the 7th we go. Arkansas on top of North Carolina 8-6 in a 3-3 ball game.
If you can hit a softball, you can always hit it better. Ray DeMarini's Reflex Hitting System, only from ESPN, can make you a better, more consistent hitter. For just $29.95, you'll learn hitting techniques to improve your stance, swing, bat speed, and timing.
Get ready to make yourself a better hitter.
Ray DeMarini has been a successful 600-plus hitter from local to national levels of slow-pitch softball. And his exclusive Reflex Hitting System from ESPN Home Video will give you all you need to know for a higher average, greater power, and increased performance, regardless of your size. Be the star of your softball team with the Ray DeMarini Reflex Hitting System for only $29.95 from ESPN Home Video. Call 1-800-554-9000 to order today or to get your free catalog of videos from ESPN Home Video.
3-3 ball game, bottom of the 7th. Top of the order for the Razorbacks. Scott Poe's the leadoff man. Down in the dirt, ball 1 from Michael Hogue. Arkansas has out-hit Carolina 8-7. Singled his first time up, did Scott, then popped up and grounded to third. He's moved the ball to the opposite side of the ballpark all 3 times. The single was to left center. Popped up to the shortstop, grounded to the third baseman. Michael Hogue continuing to throw 80% strikes in this ball game. Two balls and a strike. Pose, Scott Epps, and Troy Eklund, the numbers 1, 2, 3 hitters for the Razorbacks in the 7th. Got jammed, fights it off, but hits it to the shortstop. Easy catch for Ron Mauer, 1 down. Michael Hogue's mom and dad cheering the first out of the 7th inning. Down here from Longmont, Colorado. Scott Epps, the hitter, against the junior left-hander. That's a pretty good strike zone from Bruce Ravan. If Michael Hogue continues to get that call, he'll be tough to hit for the rest of this game. Over but low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think he's shown he can throw the ball just about where he wants to, and that's exactly right, Bob.
Quick worker, this guy. Gets a grounder to the shortstop. Ron Mauer charges and fires on to Estrell for the 2nd out. That is 6 hitters in a row retired by Michael Hogue. His shortstop's been in the last 3.
Mike Roberts says that Mauer plays every ball like a catcher, meaning he gets in front of the ball and gets square. He may be unorthodox, but he's as good as any shortstop he's ever had. And that includes Walt Weiss and a couple other guys. You see Mauer move after this ball. Watch him center and get the ball right in the middle of him. Right there. Textbook.
Base is empty. 2 outs. Troy Eklund, the hitter. And he's hacking early in the count. Fly ball center field. The wind drifts it toward right center. No problem out there for Tom Nevin. An easy 1, 2, 3, 7 for Michael Hogue. He's retired 7 straight hitters. And we've got a dandy as we move on to the 8th inning. The fans are into this one for the Tar Heels and the Razorbacks as the teams are knotted up at 3.
Mom, what's rocket fuel made of? Look it up, dear. Look it up, dear.
Stay tuned for a free offer from Encyclopedia Britannica.
Come taste the adventure. Come reach to the sky. Come feel the excitement of who, what, where, why. Open Britannica. Explore and you'll find that living the moment can capture your mind.
To find out more about Britannica for your child, call toll-free 1-800-544-1000. And we'll send you this free booklet. And just for previewing Britannica in your own home, you can get this 3-volume desk reference set absolutely free. So call this number now.
There's experience for a lifetime in Britannica.
Call now.
This little thing called not in the box score is something that may not seem important to you, but right here it leads to a run. Ryan Hallison decides to let a top ground ball hit by D. Alexander to third go foul. He had a play on that ball, and it's what really made Mike Roberts get really mad about the aggressiveness. The next hitter, Calhoun, gets a blooper to right field and scores a run.
At that time, it was 3-1 Arkansas, but the Tar Heels then in the box score answered with 2 in the 6th to tie the game. We've been there ever since. Todd Nichols leads off in the 8th inning. This couldn't catch up with the fastball from Mike Oquist. Nichols singled his first time. Lined out hard his first time, then singled, stole second, stranded in the third, walked and scored in the 6th inning. Breaking ball, foul tip, 0-2.
Mike Oquist likes to throw that fastball up and away in the strike zone, out of the strike zone when he gets ahead. Let's see if he shows him right here. That's one thing the book says on him. He likes to throw that fastball up and away with 2 strikes.
Well, he was outside. He got it down a bit. That's where the target was from Tony Gilmore. Count stays 0-2. We won't have the Sunfield problems of previous days here in Omaha today, but it is a cloudy, kind of a glare of a sky overhead. Here's the 0-2 pitch again.
And as you see the jugs right there, here's a breaking ball. That slider, 80 miles an hour breaking ball. Got a hard, tight, quick, late breaking ball that is his second pitch. He likes to throw that 4-seam fastball, but as he showed you, a typical pitcher, 0-2, shows you the fastball away and comes back with something inside.
Our guys in the truck are guessing fastball, so we'll see the clock again.
Change up.
Nice guess. Nice guess, but he got the strikeout, huh? 66 miles an hour for his second K of the afternoon.
And Todd Nichols right there. Todd Nichols says, throw the ball. Did you see that? He said, throw the ball. Looked at him and said, throw the ball.
Well, the pitcher can look back and say, hit the ball.
That's right. Now, that's a changeup when you take that much off of. That ball just floated in there, but he had good arm motion, laid that ball back, and Todd had no chance.
Brad Woodall, the hitter. He's doubled, walked, and scored. Doubled, singled, and scored. 2 for 3 on the day. He's had a good day at the plate. And he goes up hacking, fouling one to the left.
I never forget when Pete Rose had his 44-game hit streak. I was with the Reds in Atlanta in 1978. Gene Garber, slider ball, everything soft, changeup pitcher. Pete hit a line drive off his foot one time, and he made the play on it. And his next time up, Garber threw him nothing but changeups. And I can always remember Pete saying it was 0 for 4, and it ended his streak. He says, throw the ball. So I always remember that when I hear somebody say that.
Fastball away. Ball and a strike.
I guess hitters sometimes think, Bob, that if you can't hit the changeup that pitcher's supposed to throw you, the pitch you can hit.
Yeah, right. It's not batting practice out there all day. He takes a little bit off. Offering to drag bunt was Woodall. He pulled back in time, took ball 2.
Of the first 23 pitches that Oquist has thrown, he's shown exceptional command. He's thrown 17 strikes and 6 balls. That's one thing that Norm told us. He had the ability to throw the ball around the plate. As we said, he was the #1 starter this year earlier.
Woodall, a multi-performer for this ball club. He has DH, played first in the outfield. He was the first relief pitcher in the ACC tournament when he made the all-tournament team. Line drive hitter trying to get aboard here with the bases empty. 1 out. Got a breaking ball and fouled it straight down. Now he'll walk it off.
There's the first baseman there guarding the line in situation. Tie ball game late in the game. You do not want to give up any doubles. You'll get into singles to your right, but you don't want to give up any doubles, and that's what he's doing, guarding the line to knock that ball down and keep the runner on first base.
Off-speed pitch. Fly ball center field. Starting back was Thomas, now back in. 2 down. So Mike Oquist really keeping the North Carolina hitters off balance right now with a steady diet of off-speed deliveries. He gets 2 outs in the inning on a couple of 2-strike changeups. Jesse Levis, the hitter. Jesse fanned his last time with 2 men on, but the man behind him, Dave Arendis, delivered one of the big hits of North Carolina's season, driving home 2 hitters with a 2-out single. reached 90 on that fastball. It was fouled off to the left.
There's Jim Calhoun again right there. And it's so important, especially with 2 outs. You do not want that runner to get on second base with 2 outs, so 1 base hit can put you ahead in the ball game, and he's hugging that line.
0-2 delivery. Big breaking ball, chopped fair, and it'll stay fair. Calhoun never had to leave the bag, just waited for the ball to come to him. And an easy 1-2-3 inning for Mike Oquist in the top of the 8th. He's retired the last 6 hitters he's faced. He got 1 on a strikeout changeup here. As Todd Nichols says, throw the ball. He did for a strikeout.
I had so many great moments in basketball. I don't think there is one particular event that I enjoyed more, but I think a culmination of playing basketball, of being involved, of playing in the championship games, going to dental school, walking across dental school with that diploma, that probably was one of the greatest achievements in my life. And dental school was very, very competitive. There was a lot of adversity I had to deal with, just like in college when I played basketball. Your back is up against the wall, you have to deliver. And that's the same type of scenario that you're dealing with in everyday life. When my back was up against the wall in dental school, that competitiveness just came out in me. And I had to reach a little deeper. And it helped. It helped.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
ESPN's presentation of the 1989 NCAA College World Series from Omaha, brought to you by Audi. Conform to the road, not the rules. Audi, the alternate route. By Wilson Sporting Goods. Wilson, the official ball of the 89 NCAA College World Series. And by new Wild and Mild ranch-flavored Frito brand corn chips. Rustle up some. With Ray Knight, Bob Carpenter, Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha, bottom of the 8th inning upcoming. And there's your line score. 3-3 the score. Razorbacks had the 3-1 lead. Tar Heels answered with 2 in the 6th. Razorbacks have out-hit the Heels 8-7. Arendis, the big man for North Carolina, with that big 2-run single. Middle of the order for the Hogs in the 8th. Greg DeAlexander, Jim Calhoun. And then for the first time at the plate, Tony Gilmore.
You can look for Greg DeAlexander to be very aggressive here. This type situation, he looks for a ball to pull, a ball middle of the plate in, and he wants to drive the ball somewhere out there in that outfield.
He does for a leadoff single. Turned on it, and the Hogs have their 9th hit of the day and the leadoff man aboard. That's a big one, the lead run here in the bottom of the 8th.
The continuing turmoil in China is behind the rising demand. I'm Melissa Gardner.
The Audi 3-year test drive. 3 years of German style without the responsibilities of ownership. 3 years of German luxury with none of the scheduled maintenance costs. 3 eminently affordable years with the car you've always desired. Don't let a lease this impressive pass you by.
For more information, call 1-800-AUDI-3YR.
Boy, the last couple of Legends editions have really been sensational, and the same kind of excitement will be yours next time. We've got some highlights for you so that you can get your own taste of what I'm talking about. Until then, I'm Mark Lawrence saying goodbye for now.
Wichita State coach Gene Stevenson and his Shockers were pushed to their emotional limit in their matchup with Florida State on Sunday. Emotions ran high with a tie score late in the game. The Seminoles barely pulled out a win, but the game left Coach Stevenson eager for another meeting with Mike Martin's Seminoles if they win today. The task is survival, and the Shockers know the way to survive is through sacrifice. Pitcher Greg Brummett, already a winner over Arkansas, tries to keep the Shockers alive. Coach Norm DeBrine's Arkansas Razorbacks kept their cool and went back to basics to beat North Carolina Sunday. Don Thomas executed a perfect squeeze to give the Razorbacks the lead, and they went from there. The Hogs survived a scare when Carolina worked the hidden ball trick. But time was called, and Coach Mike Roberts and the Tar Heels were headed back to Tobacco Road. Fresh in the minds of the Razorbacks is that setback to the Shockers. The Hog hitters have had one chance at pitcher Greg Brummett and lost. They get their last shot today. For the 10th consecutive year, ESPN brings you the College World Series from Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha plays host for the 40th consecutive year. Seeds number 4 and 5, Wichita State and Arkansas getting together in elimination game number 3 this afternoon. For the 10th consecutive year, ESPN's trucks are at Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha to bring you all the sights and sounds of the College World Series. I'm Bob Carpenter. Welcome to our coverage here on another gorgeous afternoon in Omaha. And so far, the seeding for the tournament has really held true. Number 8, North Carolina is gone. Number 7, Long Beach falling yesterday. 6-seeded LSU fights for survival against Miami tonight. And Ray Knight, numbers 5 and 4 get together here this afternoon. But in this tournament, pitching has held up like we thought it would. But a couple of big-name pitchers have been unable to win.
Well, Bob, you're exactly right. Fernandez for Miami and Ben McDonald for LSU have lost. But that shows you that with the talent here, anyone can beat any other team if they get the right breaks.
Let's update you now on the records of the teams still playing in the College World Series here in Omaha. In the East Division, Florida State unbeaten, doesn't play again till tomorrow night. They'll play the winner of the Wichita State-Arkansas game this afternoon. North Carolina on its way home. Meanwhile, in the West, Texas is the unbeaten. The Longhorns will play on Thursday against the winner of tonight's Miami-LSU game. Long Beach State on its way home. Yesterday afternoon, it got underway with LSU against Long Beach State. And the Tigers put together a 4-hit, 4-walk, 6-run third inning. Tookie Johnson's double, the big blow.
Jumped all over that hanging breaking ball right there. Tookie Johnson, which turned out to be the big hit, 3-run double that led to their win.
They managed to hold on and beat the 49ers 8-5. Last night, Alex Fernandez of Miami against Texas, and a big night for Craig Newkirk with 2 home runs.
Craig Newkirk has been the catalyst on this ball club all year when it comes to crucial situations. He jumped all over the fastball then for a home run, set on the breaking ball the next at bat, and hit 2 home runs in that game.
He was the 12th man in College World Series to hit 2 long ones in one game as Texas hammered Miami 12-2. This afternoon, the big story for the Wichita State Shockers, unfortunately for Gene Stevenson, injuries. 2 key players hurt who will play, 2 key players hurt who will not be available to him. First of all, Bryant Winslow and Jim Audley both hampered with injuries but will play, but they're missing shortstop Mike Lansing, right fielder Jeff Bonaquista.
Well, Jeff Bonaquista hit .323 this year and was the guy that set the table for the big boys, but the big guy that they missed was Mike Lansing. You saw where he hit .366, but what you didn't see was the effect he had on this ball club. He scored 101 runs, stole 43 bases, and played great defense. So he's the key to this ball club, and he's out.
One way to compensate for key players being out is with great pitching. Wichita has a great one going today.
Well, Greg Brummett is a great pitcher. He's been their stopper all year. He's a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball that he spots in and out, and his strikeout pitch is that slider. He has great ability to locate away.
Meanwhile, for Arkansas, one of the best freshman throwers in the country in Doug Bennett.
Well, Doug Bennett is a freshman, but he has great composure. He was 7-2 this year. His last start, he won 9-2, beating Illinois. Great fastball, likes to go up in the strike zone, and he's the type kid that Norm DeBriene believes that can beat anybody.
He'll have the nation's #1 defense in the country behind him, but they'll give up a little outfield defense to get more pop in the lineup this afternoon. ESPN's presentation of the '89 NCAA College World Series from Omaha is brought to you by Geo. No matter what you're looking for in a car, it's a Geo. By Norelco Lift and Cut Shapers. We made close comfortable. And by new Wild and Mild ranch-flavored Frito brand corn chips. Rustle up some. The numbers 4 and 5 seeds get together here at Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha this afternoon. It's elimination game number 3 with the Shockers of Wichita against the Razorbacks of Arkansas in a moment.
This is Geo, the highest mileage car in the country. And this is Geo, 16-valve kick in an import-style sedan. And this is where you get Geo. Any more questions? Geo. And here's a special Geo Prism offer. 2.9% GMAC financing or $400 cash back. Plus, if Geo's your first new car, you can get $600 toward your down payment with GMAC financing at select Chevrolet dealers now.
Budweiser and Bud Light are joining USA Today so you can vote for the All-Stars. Pick up an official All-Star fan ballot free wherever you buy Bud and Bud Light. Then enter the All-Star Pick-a-Pair Trivia Sweepstakes. Answers appear every day in USA Today, your #1 source for sports coverage. So look for this display and vote.
The pros have a nickname for their favorite glove. They call it the A2. For more than 30 years, the Wilson A2000 has set the standards in a league where performance is the measure of the man and the glove. A2000, the glove of the pros from the brand of the pros.
The Wichita State lineup is brought to you by Wilson, the official ball of the NCAA College World Series. Head coach Gene Stevenson, in his 12th year at Wichita, makes his 3rd College World Series appearance. His leadoff man is sophomore center fielder Jim Audley. Batting second at second base, junior P.J. Forbes. Number 1 with 94 RBIs is senior left fielder Mike McDonald, batting 3rd. With 22 homers, a .383 batting mark, cleanup man, junior catcher Eric Wedge. Batting 5th at first base is sophomore Bryant Winslow. At shortstop, batting 6th is sophomore Pat Mears. Batting 7th in right field is freshman Todd Dreifert. Batting 8th at third base is sophomore Mike Jones. And batting 9th, the designated hitter, senior Joey Wilson.
In right field for Arkansas, Hayden Etheridge. Center field, Scott Pose. In left field, true hitter Troy Eklund. Over at third base, Greg D. Alexander. Great defensive shortstop in Rod Stillwell. Tim Thomas at second base. Bubba Carpenter today at first base. Catching for Arkansas Razorbacks, Tony Gilmore. And on the mound, freshman pitcher Doug Bennett.
Doug Bennett 7-2 on the year, and his scouting report comes to us from pitching coach John Litke.
Yes, Bennett will be throwing for us today. He has a good fastball between 85 and 87 miles an hour. His curveball is a decent one for at our level, but he has an outstanding straight change. Today's problem will be the wind blowing out to left field. Hopefully he can keep the ball in the ballpark for us to win.
The weather could be a factor here at Rosenblatt Stadium this afternoon with the wind blowing out hard. Jim Audley playing hurt, leading off for Wichita, and he takes a fastball up high. Audley is nursing a sprained left ankle from sliding into home plate Sunday against Florida State. About the last thing this club needed was to have another injury. Up and away, 2-0.
Bob, they really have struggled. We talked about Lansing and Bonaquista before, and Jim Audley hurt his ankle, and he is now the catalyst on this ball club because of his speed. He must get on base, make things happen, and if he is hampered with that ankle and can't run, that's going to put a further strain on this offense.
Out of the strike zone, 3-0. Doug Bennett out of Springfield, Missouri, Hillcrest High School. Gets a visit from his catcher, Tony Gilmore. Last year, Bennett led his high school team to the state title there and won the Missouri State version of the high school Golden Spikes Award. Highly recruited, on to Fayetteville he went. Coaching on the bases for Wichita, head coach Gene Stevenson at third and Lauren Hibbs on the first base side. Jim Audley with a count of 3-0 takes a fastball right down the middle.
Well, Doug Bennett, although he is a power pitcher, he does have a tendency to be a little wild. He doesn't have great command. If he's on, he's going to be effective like most pitchers, but he's got enough juice behind the ball that he can make you have a long day at the plate.
It wasn't a very long at bat for Audley, who took 5 pitches, 4 of them balls, and he's aboard. Calling the balls and strikes is Bruce Ravan, Ron Graham at first, Gus Steiner at second base, and Dale Williams working at third base on the umpiring crew. Clouds overhead, sun is peeking in and out. 80 degrees or so here at the ballpark on a warm afternoon, and the wind is blowing out to left center. P.J. Forbes is the hitter.
Well, this is one kid that'll swing the bat. He's tough to walk. He only has 29 walks and like 360 plate appearances, Bob. So he's a kid that will swing the bat and tough to strike out and tough to walk.
Shockers made some trips that enabled them to play more than the NCAA allotted number of games. Went to Alaska, went out west. They played about 70, 80 ball games during the regular season almost. They're 64-16. And thus, P.J. Forbes steps to the plate with an NCAA at-bat record with 360 at-bats during this season. That's more than a lot of major leaguers get. There's a strike, 0-2. Not major league starters, but guys who don't start every day. No balls, 2 strikes. P.J. Forbes out of Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Bob, when Doug Bennett gets 2 strikes, he likes to throw that high fastball up in the strike zone to see if you'll chase it. And if you will, he goes right on up the ladder with you.
0-2 pitch is a fastball running inside. We saw Bruce Revan behind the plate on Sunday when Arkansas beat North Carolina 7-3. Wichita beat Arkansas 3-1 in the first round of this College World Series.
Norm DeBryan says Doug Bennett throws 90 plus. Let's see what we get on him right here.
Breaking ball, 81, knocked down. Good play at first base by Bubba Carpenter. He steps on the base for the out. Moving to second, Jim Audley. But Carpenter with a nice play to avoid what might have been runners at second and third, nobody out.
He certainly did make a nice play on this ball. He comes off the bag really well here and reacts. This ball hit a little bit off the end of the bat, right down the line, but that ball was definitely going to get in that corner. And the way that Audley and Forbes can run, that'd have been runners on second and third. He comes off the base hard, gets out there pretty good, but reacts real well. That ball's right down the line. Very good play right there for Bubba Carpenter.
No chance for a play at second. Man at second, 1 out. Mike McDonald, the hitter.
But a good piece of hitting by P.J. Forbes as he took that breaking ball, the first breaking ball that he saw of the game, and made contact with it in order to get Audley in that scoring position down there, Bobby.
On the outside corner to McDonald, hitting .354, 19 homers, a team-leading 94 runners knocked home, but a little switch in the middle of that lineup. Gene Stevenson moving the big guys around, Ray.
And the reason for that is he said Eric Wedge wasn't getting anything to hit with McDonald hitting behind him. They felt that he was the big threat in the lineup, so he was going to get McDonald ahead of Wedge and see did that make a difference.
McDonald has not been going well in postseason. Breaking ball up high, a ball and a strike. So the hope is maybe Mike will see more fastballs hitting ahead of Wedge, who has the numbers to carry the ball club behind him.
Well, Mike is actually a better fastball hitter than Eric Wedge. Eric Wedge a better overall hitter, but Mike McDonald likes that fastball and has a quick bat, has a tendency to pull off the ball a little bit, but if you throw him that fastball where he wants it, he can hit you hard.
Over but low, 2 balls and a strike.
And he did have a great year. You're talking about power. This man had 20 doubles, 7 triples, and 19 home runs, as well as driving in those 94 runs that we mentioned, and he also scored 84. So he had a tremendous season. Not only that, he stole 22 out of 26 bases. So you're talking about a great college player in this Mike McDonald.
Behind in the count, some high heat, 92 miles an hour for strike 2 from Doug Bennett. Bennett makes his 12th start of the year. He's appeared in 14 games now. He has fanned 49 and walked 34 in 57 innings.
DeBryan says he hopes these guys like to chase that high fastball. If he does, he said they're going to be in trouble. He says because nobody this year he's seen has been able to get on top of this young man's fastball.
That fastball rides way outside, 3-2. Mike McDonald has a very interesting batting style, Ray, for a power hitter. He almost levels off with the bat as if he's a line drive contact type hitter.
But let me tell you why. Last year he was an upright hitter and held a bat straight up, and he had a tendency to pull off the ball. They worked with him. They opened up that stance to make him go into the ball and keep his shoulder tight, and he has become a better hitter because of that adjustment.
3-2 pitch, fouled off to the right. Sun is back out. Outfielders hoping that it will stay behind the clouds. Mid-80s. Winds from the southwest. That means they're blowing northeast. Now straight out to center field. Not real humid. And as usual, the minimal chance of rain we've just been blessed with. Great weather in our 5 days of baseball action at Rosenblatt Stadium. Here's the 3-2. Fastball hit out of play right side.
Well, that gives me an indication of how hard he's throwing right there, Bobby, when he can make Mike McDonald 3-2 foul a fastball right down the middle off.
Rosenblatt Stadium, 343 down the lines, 370 to 380 in the power rallies, 420 straight away. Now the wind shifts again and is blowing straight toward left field. A man at second, one out, 3-2 the count to Mike McDonald. Fastball up and in, and that's a good job of discipline by the number 3 man. Most power hitters will have a hole in their swing up and in with that fastball. He took it for ball 4. 2 walks in the inning. Not the best of ideas in front of Eric Wedge.
I'll tell you one thing. This is a situation this man loves. He's been their best hitter all year. And when I'm talking about best hitter, he has the ability to work the count. He's a type hitter that in run-scoring situations, he'll look for the ball out over the plate, look for the breaker ball, and take it to right field. You let him get ahead in the count, 2-0 and 3-1, then he'll try to jerk you. But this year, he's coming to his own as a hitter by being able to work the count and get a good pitch to hit.
Wedge with big numbers, hitting in the number 4 slot today. Takes the fastball down the middle.
And as you'll observe there, Bobby, he's so far off the plate that I thought when we saw him at Wichita State, he could not handle the pitch away. But he has a tendency to jump out on that front foot. He's got a little leg kick there, and he jumps out and gets out front, but he keeps the front of the shoulder in, goes to the ball a little bit, and can handle the pitch away. But see how far he is off the plate there? Looks like there's no way in the world he could handle that outside pitch.
0-1 is breaking ball upstairs. Eric Wedge, a team-leading mark with that 383, 22 homers and 92 RBIs. He's a junior. The runners are Jim Audley and Mike McDonald. And a couple of years ago, Eric Wedge became the first freshman to ever start at the catcher position at Wichita State. He's been there ever since and is a real team leader for this club. Breaking ball way upstairs, 2-1.
Well, if Doug Bennett has a minus, we talk about how good his fastball is, but he has the inability to throw that breaking ball for a strike. And with these big hitters, you must be able to establish that. If you can't throw the breaking ball for a strike, you must have some pitch, like a changeup or a split finger, that they have to worry about. After a while, if they know he can't throw a strike, they're going to sit on that fastball, and they may be able to get to it looking dead red.
There's a fastball up, hit into left field, and this one is gone. Ray Knight with an accurate scouting report on the 2-1 count. He was looking fastball, and he deposited that one about 385 feet away in left center field. 3-0 Wichita.
Well, Eric Wedge may be on a little mission, Bobby. He wasn't drafted in the first round. Our information is, I guess, in the second or third round pick, but he was very disappointed in that, and Gene Stevenson said about that this morning. But the man is an outstanding hitter. As we set it up, 2-1, he loves to pull the ball, and when a guy can't throw strikes, he's going to hurt you.
Number 23 on the year, Wedge with 95 RBIs after that swing. And the Shockers have done just that to Arkansas in the top of the first inning. Razorback pitchers had given up only 30 home runs in 66 ball games. Fastball up and in to Bryant Winslow.
Look at the bat speed he generates here. He kicks that front foot, ball's up and in, and he just extends and kills that ball, but only because he's a situation hitter. Looking for the fastball, looking for it in, looking for his pitch, and he just kisses that ball, just killed the ball. That ball was out of here in a second.
Left fielder Troy Eklund, a helpless feeling as he looked up and saw it disappear. Wichita hits its 97th homer of the season. A couple of good hitting ball clubs here today, although different types of clubs. Right-hander Mark Swope, the sophomore, already throwing for the Razorbacks, who know their task was tough enough to begin with, facing 16-2 Greg Brummett. Now it'll be even tougher. The first time they look at him, they'll be down by at least 3.
Doug Bennett, 22 pitches, 12 balls, and 10 strikes, and you're not going to beat this ball club unless you can get ahead of them, because they're a great hitting ball club when they're ahead in the count.
Ray, I don't care who you're playing. You don't pitch like that in Omaha and stick around very long.
Oh, that's so true, Bobby. And they said, and Norm DeBryan told us, he must throw strikes to beat this team. But, you know, anytime you're a pitcher, you must throw strikes. It doesn't matter how fast you are, how quick your fastball is, how much movement you have on it. If you can't locate it and get ahead of the hitters, you're not going to be successful. Here he is. He's got a real compact motion. He really drives hard off that back foot. That's why he gets good velocity on that fastball. But as you saw, he was a little upright there, and that's why he has a tendency to throw high. He's not bending his back.
Now he goes to 3-1. He's already walked 2 in the inning, given up a homer to Wedge, and now he goes 3-1 to Bryant Winslow, who's playing with a stress fracture of his right leg. This guy can't move at all at first base defensively. Looking high fastball, got a piece of it, foul tip, 3-2.
In order to keep the ball down, you must push off and keep that right knee close to the ground and bend your back. Look how far he is off the ground with that right knee. He doesn't go down, and he stays straight up. See how he recoils and stays up? In order to keep the ball down, you must follow through.
Fouled off.
He's almost recoiling off of that front foot, Bobby, and he's going to have trouble. I've never seen him pitch, but just in the observation there, in order for him to get the ball down, he's going to have to bend that back a little more, because he's recoiling back and releasing that ball up really high, and the ball staying up there.
3-2 pitch again. Good location at the knees on the inside corner. Doug Bennett gets his 50th strikeout of the year. That's the second out in the inning.
Well, this shows his capabilities. Now, he really pops his fastball in here. See how he gets over a little bit more and bends down on that ball, and that ball runs in. He extended himself a little more and got down closer to the ground on his following through and got the ball down in the strike zone.
There's Mr. Wedge, Eric's father. He was up out of his seat a moment ago as Mr. Wedge Jr. lost one, good for 3 runs. Pat Mears is the hitter. Mears, the shortstop, batting in the number 6 spot, replacing Mike Lansing, the Wichita shortstop extraordinaire.
And to say a little bit about that, Pat Mears is certainly a great shortstop. In fact, he was projected as a shortstop for next year. He was playing third base for Wichita, and he moved over there, and he is a great player. The only thing is he was hitting 6th before. They had to move him down to 9th in the order. Stevenson, in his switch today, moved him back up to 6th in the batting order, but he is a great player, and Gene says he's the best natural athlete on the ball club.
Fastball outside.
And another interesting fact about him, Bobby, and you and I know this, they talked about it a lot there, he never played high school baseball.
Mears was an outstanding golfer in high school, did not play baseball, and then a year later was here in Omaha playing center field for Wichita at the College World Series. He could have gone football or basketball, that route into college play.
He was recruited heavily by major college schools to play football and basketball, but they did not have a baseball program at the school that he attended high school at.
Well, the Hog Hats are not happy hats right now. Down 3-0. Golfing one. Little 9-iron into center field. Easy catch for Scott Pose. But in the top of the first inning, the Shockers get 3 on 1 hit. They parlay 2 walks and an Eric Wedge homer, his 23rd of the year, into an early 3-0 lead. Now the Razorbacks come to the plate, hitting at .307. The Arkansas batting order brought to you by Wilson, the official ball of the NCAA College World Series. Norm DeBryan, in his 20th year at the helm of the Razorbacks, 701 wins, his 4th College World Series. Leading the club at .392 is the leadoff man, senior center fielder Scott Pose. A freshman DHing today in the number 2 spot, Grayson Lyles. With 8 homers, senior left fielder Troy Eklund bats third. With 8 homers, 66 RBIs, junior third baseman Greg D. Alexander. Bubba Carpenter gets the start today, a sophomore first baseman batting 5th. In right field, another sophomore batting 6th, Hayden Etheridge. Behind the plate, a junior, Tony Gilmore, batting 7th. Tim Thomas, a sophomore, second baseman, batting 8th. And experience from senior shortstop Rod Stillwell, batting 9th.
Defensively for the Wichita State Shockers, freshman Todd Dreifert in right field, Jim Audley in center field, Mike McDonald, the left fielder, utility man Mike Jones playing third base, Pat Mears, shortstop, P.J. Forbes at second base, Bryant Winslow at first, All-American catcher Eric Wedge behind the plate, and right-hander Greg Brummett on the mound.
Brummett, a senior, a second-team All-American, 16-2. Here's Gene Stevenson talking about his pitcher.
Greg's going to have to be much like he was the other night. He's going to have to be in command of all of his pitches. He's going to have to be able to throw his slider in a good location, and he's going to have to be able to throw his fastball in good spots. And Arkansas is an exceptionally good hitting team, and one that he's going to have to be on top of his game to win.
Razorbacks don't have as much power as Wichita. The Hogs have hit 37 homers in their 66 ball games this year, but they are hitting .307 as a team, and Scott Pose a chance for a hot finish if the Hogs can stay alive long enough and maybe be a 400 hitter by the end of this season.
Well, Scotty Pose is the team captain of this ball club, and he leads the team in average, the career stolen base leader, but this 3-0 lead may negate a little bit of that running game, Bobby. It's one thing that they talked about. They want to generate some offense, but when you get behind 3-0, it's kind of hard to start running yourself out of innings.
Eric Wedge has something to do with that as well behind the plate for Wichita. Brummett with a breaking ball, fouled outside first. On the pitch before that, you could see the outstanding movement he has with the fastball away from left-handed hitters.
That's right, Bobby. He spots the ball away from left-handers, runs it in on right-handers, throws that slider, which is his strikeout pitch. As you look at the first bases, as the base coaches, Norm DeBryan over at third, Rod Moore at first base.
A 1-2 pitch. Fastball rides up and away. So Brummett, seemingly from the center field camera, putting a little rise on that ball, but it ran outside severely.
He has tremendous movement on his fastball, whether he spots it in or away. When he throws it away, it's going to always run toward the third base dugout. See that late movement and run on that fastball, and that's why he's so effective. He's not that hard a thrower, but he's a true pitcher.
His 122nd strikeout of the year. He's only walked 44 in 132 innings.
Well, Coach Stevenson has seen a lot of pitchers in his time, and he said this is the most underrated pitcher in college baseball today because they look so much for velocity, but he'd put him in the top 1 or 2 as far as being able to know how to pitch.
Looking left field way, freshman Grayson Lyles.
There's not anything real fancy about Greg Brummett. Everything's kind of smooth. He kicks that leg up a little bit, but not anything real deceptive. Doesn't throw you the glove, stands up on his delivery a little bit, but he's a type guy that's not a power pitcher, so he doesn't have to focus so much on following through. He can just spot that ball, and he has great command of that pitch, so he pretty much knows where that field area is out there, and not being 6'1" or 2, just 5'10", he's able to throw a lot of strikes.
It's a day for sunbonnets at Rosenblatt Stadium. Somebody needs to tell her the field, though, is the other way. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's an 89-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside corner. 2 hitters, 2 strikeouts.
Well, he has impeccable control. Here it is right here. Greg Brummett coming back with the very same pitch he threw before to Scott Pose, moving a little away. And what happens, that ball may have looked like it ran out of strike zone there, but they know that this man can throw strikes, and when he does throw balls, they're barely off the plate, so the umpire has a tendency to call a lot more strikes. He's never far from that strike zone.
Troy Eklund, one of Arkansas's leading power men, bats third, takes a breaking ball low and outside. Troy, senior, hitting at .321. 2 Razorbacks have 8 homers in the lineup today. Eklund and the man to follow, Greg D. Alexander. They do not have in the lineup today a hitter who had a big game the other day, and Jim Calhoun, who had 3 hits against North Carolina. Also, Kirk Pisker, a catcher, who has 8 homers on the year. Norm DeBryan really platooning things with the lefties against the right-hander. Ray, do you give the guy a green light on 3-0 this early in the ballgame, down by 3, or is the need for base runners the greater one?
Oh, there's no way he'll swing the bat here at 3-0. He's got to take, they may even make him take 2 strikes right here. He has to get base runners on, and even a home run just get you back to 3-1. So he'll definitely be taking it. See?
Well, 3 balls and a strike. Not a very good pitch to turn yourself loose on a big, nasty, moving fastball, even on 3-0. He hits it to the second baseman. P.J. Forbes up with it, and the ground ball out. So Ray and Linda Brummett happy that their son Greg has pitched a 1-2-3 first inning. A big first inning for the Shockers. And after one, Wichita on 1 hit leads Arkansas 3-0 in this third elimination game in the College World Series.
Do you know how to work a golf ball? How to slice around a tree or poke on a dogleg left? Hi, I'm Tom Watson. I recently wrote an article about that in Golf Digest. It's a magazine that completely covers the game. Shots, strategy, equipment, people. It's all in Golf Digest. If you're looking for new clubs, a better ball, Golf Digest delivers. Top playing professionals Nicklaus, Kite, Langer, teachers like Toski and Flick take you shot for shot from the driver through the putter. If anything can take strokes off your handicap, it's Golf Digest. It also tells you about the personalities that make the game so great. Sound good? Now here's how you can get Golf Digest.
Call toll-free 800-622-3488 for a year of Golf Digest, only $12.77, 46% off the newsstand price. And you'll receive as a bonus tips from the tour, free. Call 800-622-3488 now.
Be a winner. Read Golf Digest.
Tennis. The French Open. Tomorrow. Live on ESPN.
Welcome back to Rosenblatt Stadium, Omaha. College World Series game number 9, the third elimination game. The loser between Arkansas and Wichita State goes home. The winner will take on number 1 seed Florida State tomorrow night. Todd Dreifert leads off for Wichita. Down to the numbers 7, 8, and 9 hitters. The freshman right fielder hitting at 274. Can't catch up with that one up high. Strike one.
Todd Dreifert potentially is as good a hitter in this ball club. He's just a freshman, has a tendency to be a little tentative, but when he learns how to hit, Gene feels like he's going to be a good hitter.
6 foot, 185, only 19 years old, out of Wichita.
There's Doug Bennett, last inning, 33 pitches. Look at that, 15 balls and 18 strikes, and that's why they scored 3 runs off of him.
Wichita, a hotbed of amateur baseball for many years. The Shockers feature 5 local products on their roster. A heavy Kansas flavor. A few from Colorado. Oklahoma is represented. Todd Dreifert, just a freshman, count of 1 and 2, and he chops the fastball. You talked about his potential, Ray, and Gene Stevenson in the past has been very aware of freshmen with potential. He doesn't throw them right in, but he brings them along slowly. An example was Joe Carter, now just one of the great hitters in baseball in the major leagues. He only played 12 of his first 25 games in Wichita, and then finally the coach had to get him in there. He was too good.
Bobby, that's exactly right. The reason for that is these kids come up and they know that they can hit, but they don't know that they can hit at this level. They've always been great stars in high school, and it goes right on up. High school, college ball, A-ball, AA, and AAA, you have to feel that you belong, and he lets them fill in slowly.
Fresno State was the host team of that West 2 regional. And down on strikes goes Todd Dreifert. That's number 2 for Doug Bennett. He's now retired 3 in a row after Eric Wedge's homer. He went to a long count on Brian Winslow, the following hitter. Came back to fan him. Mears on a good pitch, flied out to center. Now the strikeout, so maybe the freshman is finally settling in.
Mike Jones started the season as a utility player. He can play second base, third base, shortstop, outfielder, catcher. He got real hot early, and they moved him to DH, and for like the last 20 games he was DH. He's been forced into action at third base with Mears moving over to shortstop with a Mike Lansing injury.
A little bit inside. A ball and a strike to Mike Jones. He can play anywhere, says the coach. Ray Knight called him a utility man. He's that. At all the infield positions, he can also catch if needed. And there's a pretty good breaking ball near the outside corner. 1-2. Doug Bennett looking sharp now.
Well, this is a pitch he must establish. This is that breaking ball we talked about. Real good rotation and good spot in the strike zone. Starts at about knee-high and breaks down around the ankles. If he can throw that pitch, he can be tough.
Well hit to right field. Backing up. Now set and coming in is Etheridge. The ball died on him, and it'll fall in front. Etheridge was fooled by the sound of the ball at the bat. It had a good trajectory on it, like it was going all the way to the track, and then suddenly it died in front of him.
Well, you talked about giving up a little bit of defense, and Etheridge is out there for his offense with the sun, as we've talked about so many times here in Omaha, in that right field outfielder's face. He misjudged that ball, but he is an offensive player, and if the situation arises, you'll see Don Thomas go to center field and Scott Pose move over to right. So he's out there for his bat, not his defense.
They have called an error on the right fielder, Etheridge. Joey Wilson in the number 9 slot. Sort of unusual to see the DH hitting down there.
Well, that's one of the first errors I've ever seen called, that the ball bounced 2 foot in front of the outfielder.
It goes down as an error in judgment, not with the glove.
Well, they forget about that sun out there. Sometimes those official scores are tough.
Mike Jones would have liked to have had a hit on that line drive.
And Doug Bennett would have liked to have had an out. But still, the fact is, he could have looked up in that sun. There's no way to tell from this viewpoint what happens out there. He did start back.
Sounds like on that play, nobody got what they wanted, but Wichita got a base run.
I was just making the comment because usually if a guy gets there's a lot of reasons for that. He gets a bad jump on the ball. Balls fall in front of him. It's the same difference. He started back on the ball. He was fooled by it. A guy gets a bad jump on the ball by a big power hitter, and it falls in front of him, and they give him a base hit. I don't see the difference.
Fastball ripped to right field. To his right, staying right with it, is Etheridge. That's the second out of the inning. That ball hit right on the nose by Joey Wilson. A couple of these hitters going the other way. Back to the top of the order for Jim Audley. Audley is a switch hitter. Batting mark of .319 coming in. This is a player that his coach thinks could hit .400 someday if he used the bunting and running talents that he has.
He surely said that. He said all year he hasn't seen him attempt a bunt 3 times, and if he would do it, that he could add another 30 or 40 points to his average.
But he tries to jack the high fastball. 1-1. A runner at first on the error. 2 down. That's Mike Jones over there being held by Bubba Carpenter. Shockers on top, 3-0 on the first inning homer from Eric Wedge. On the inside corner at the knees, so an outside-inside pitching pattern from Doug Bennett.
Well, they said that he didn't have great command, but great stuff, and all he had to do was be somewhere around the plate, and these hitters, because of the velocity, would swing at it. Now you're seeing him start to settle down a little bit. He is a freshman. We talked about his composure. It may take that first inning to get things settled down out there for him, but he does have the ability to shut these hitters down when he comes around that plate.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. The strikeout ends the inning. Doug Bennett looking better and better as the game goes on. After a rocky start with a couple of walks and a homer, they strand 1. He's fanned 3, and after an inning and a half, Shockers by 3.
The 1990 Geo Prism is so well built, There are only 4 parts its Bumper to Bumper Plus 3-year, 50,000-mile warranty doesn't cover. And those 4 parts come with their own warranty. Geo. And here's a special Geo Prism offer. 2.9% GMAC financing or $400 cash back. Plus, if Geo's your first new car, you can get $600 toward your down payment with GMAC financing at select Chevrolet dealers now.
Last week, us Fritos rustlers came upon a whole new breed. Ranch Fritos. They looked real wild, but they was actually sort of mild. Shoot, one even let Luke pet it. These wild and mild Ranch Fritos have a creamy ranch flavor. No Fritos rustler can resist. But keep that under your hat, partner. New wild and mild ranch flavor Fritos corn chips. Rustle up, son.
Afternoon game, Wichita on 1 hit, leading Arkansas 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the second inning. And primetime action comes your way on ESPN this evening. We'll tell you more about that after Greg D. Alexander faces Greg Brummett in the bottom of the second. Arkansas needs to get something going, down early by 3. Sidearm fastball in for a strike. Greg D. Alexander, the best power numbers on the team, with Eklund, has 8 homers, leads in RBIs with those 66.
D. Alexander likes the ball inside, so Brummett may want to go away with him. He's always ready to hit, Norm DeBryan says. Wants the ball in, dead fastball hitter. Let's see if he goes away with it.
Runs it up and in. D. Alexander, 2 hits and 4 trips the other day, so in NCAA tournament play, he's 10 for 27. Perfect location. Outside corner, strike 2.
See, although it appeared Brummett may want to pitch him inside with that pitch that I talked about going away. That pitch was in off the plate. And he throws that pitch to set up that pitch away. His strikeout pitch is a slider. It's 2-2. D. Alexander being a fastball hitter. Let's see if he throws the slider away.
He gets him at the knees. 3 out of 4 hitters fanned by Greg Brummett. He's retired all 4 with 1 out in the second. Bubba Carpenter, the hitter, a sophomore first baseman, did not start the ball game against North Carolina on Sunday. Did come in late as a pinch hitter. Little number in front of the mound, and Brummett covers it in good fashion for the second out. 2 grounders and 3 strikeouts.
Greg Brummett, the pro scout, says he does everything well. Watch Bubba Carpenter square around there. Good bunting fundamentals. Gets the ball down, but Brummett been very quick, jumps off the mound and makes an easy play at first base.
Base is empty. 2 outs. Hayden Etheridge, the hitter. Etheridge, a sophomore right fielder, hitting around 300, while his coach, Norm DeBryan, coaching over at third, is waiting for some offense.
Well, hitting coach Doug Clark, I talked to him before the game. He teaches alley to alley. This is one kid that won't listen to him. He said that Hayden Etheridge wants to pull the ball. He likes the ball down and in. And he said he's a good kid, but he's trying to get him to learn to hit the ball the other way. So you can look for Hayden Etheridge to pull the ball. I'll probably be right like I was on that 3-0 pitch.
Well, the pitching pattern has something to do with that. We'll see if Brummett keeps the ball away from him. Usually when a left-hander tries to pull that outside fastball, it's a nice, easy ground ball to the second baseman. 2 balls and a strike. That one a little bit too far outside. He goes to a long count. Hasn't really done that yet. 3 balls and a strike. Hayden Etheridge, out of North Little Rock, a sophomore. Good size for a young player, 6'2", 175. The 3-1. Running fastball to the shortstop. Hit that ball hard, but right at Pat Mears. And Brummett and the Shockers have another 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 6 straight, 3 on strikes, 3 on grounders, and as we move to the 3rd inning, the Shockers are in control. On the Eric Wedge homer, they lead 3-0.
I think that competing in athletics at Pitt taught me a number of things, how to be a leader, how to work with others, become a stronger team. I learned a good work ethic of how to work hard and to achieve. The competition in the games that we had was at a high level, and that same kind of competition is something that we face in the business world. The experience of being a college athlete had a dimension of its own. It was a tremendous opportunity to meet many people, to travel around the United States, to play in front of a lot of people. It was just a great added dimension to my college education, and one that I'll never forget, and one that means a lot to me.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
Following Wichita and Arkansas, SportsCenter on ESPN, and then LSU takes on Miami in a Tuesday night fight for survival. Tookie Johnson, 24-game hitting streak with that big 3-run double yesterday. Will Vespi 4-2. Decent ERA for Miami. That's a battle to see who will play Texas on Thursday. The winner of this game will play Florida State, the top seed, tomorrow night. Top of the 3rd, P.J. Forbes against Doug Bennett. Fastball rides up high off the glove of Tony Gilmore. Going back to the last inning, the ball hit by Mike Jones to right field has now seen a ruling reversal take away the error on Hayden Etheridge in right field and give Mike Jones a single. Fair ball, backhand play. D. Alexander at the bag and the long throw.
Greg D. Alexander is a great defensive third baseman. Look at this move. Look at him keep his head down and make that short hop. That is a very difficult play, and he makes it look easy because of his quick step. Norm DeBryan says he's the best defensive third baseman he's ever had. This is why. Quick step, keeps his head down. That ball's in between hop, comes down, guns the ball over there. That's a great play right there, boys. You don't know how tough that is unless you've had to make it, and I've missed it quite a few times.
Here's Mike McDonald. He looks at a breaking ball on the inside corner. Well, it makes the pitcher feel good to have that happen with a leadoff man at the plate. That's the difference between leadoff man aboard and 1 out, bases empty. McDonald walked ahead of the Eric Wedge homer. So had Jim Ottley, and that's how the Shockers have scored all their runs. Overhand breaking ball outside. Mike McDonald struggling, as we told you. He took a 3-2 pitch for a walk 2 innings ago. A couple of breaking balls have started him off this time, so he's still not seeing the steady diet of hard stuff. Another breaking ball hit into left field. He got it down around the end of the bat. It'll fade into the glove of Troy Eckler. Home run swing, but it was down around the end of the barrel. What happened last time Eric Wedge came up? This one did not hit at the end of the bat, did it?
2-1 pitch up in the end. Eric Wedge looking inside. No doubt about that. You can tell by the swing right there that that ball's out of here. You don't even have to see where it lands.
Not with that big guy swinging.
The Oakland forearm bash.
Well, 6'3", 210. He's right up there with Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco in the strength department. Eric Wedge got his home run and 3 of his 4 RBIs on that last swing. He looks at a fastball high and outside, ball 1.
As Jim Cott mentioned the other night, he has a tendency to have little conversations with himself at the plate. That's a way to get himself psyched up, and if he's out on the front foot, sometimes he may say stay back or be aggressive, but you'll notice him a lot of times saying something to himself up there.
2-0 now. And don't expect to see a fastball as Doug Bennett tries to come from behind in the count.
Look how deep the left fielder is. The wind's blowing out. They know this man can drive the baseball. The center fielder's out there about 390. The left fielder's right up against the wall. He's got paint on his back, as they'd say.
Well, there's a fastball, but it's nowhere near the strike zone. And 3-0. You have to think that Wedge, with 2 outs and the bases empty, has the green light if he sees an automatic-looking fastball. That's only about 6 or 7 steps running from the wall. Way outside, ball 4. Doug Bennett wanted no part of Eric Wedge. Third walk in the game. Bryant Winslow will be the hitter. We'll talk more about Eric Wedge as the day goes on and how he's just has to be drafted. A lot of catchers these days, Ray, come out of college without the knowledge of calling a game and handling the pitchers because the coaches handle that. Eric Wedge is a different breed in that respect. He runs things for Gene Stevenson.
He sure does, Bob. He runs his pitching staff. He runs his ball club. He calls the pitches. Gene Stevenson, as you see right there where he stole 10 bases in 10 attempts, Gene Stevenson says, I asked him about who calls the pitches. He says, hey, he knows more about pitching than I do. So
well, that's something that scouts have to consider very valuable because that is a criticism of some catchers coming out, that they don't have that game-calling, pitcher-handling experience.
And we mentioned him not being drafted in the first round. He was taken in the second round by the Boston Red Sox,
according to reports we've received. 1 ball, no strikes. Bryant Winslow called on strikes his first time. A big guy at 6'3", 210 that Rod Stillwell, the shortstop, may not be too crazy about seeing coming his direction. Fastball upstairs, 2-0.
You know, Bobby, when we were in Wichita State, I was there a day early, and they were playing Texas Tech, and Bryant Winslow, I got to know a little bit. We shared a pizza together in the locker room after the Texas Tech game, and talking about a nice man, a nice young man. I just really, you find people that you really are attracted to, and he's just quiet, soft-spoken, and just the perfect example of the young men in America. You talk about drugs, you talk about all that stuff, but here's a kid that's just, and this whole ball club, this kid really impressed me. He called me yes sir and Mr. Knight, and that kind of scared me a little bit, but really I enjoyed being with him.
And then when I showed up a day later, you asked me to call you Mr. too. Jeez. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Runner at first, 2 outs. In there for a strike. The freshman getting a little noise from the Wichita dugout on that 3-0 pitch.
Well, Bryant's also the type of hitter, Bob, 3-1. He can really turn that bat loose with a lot of power. He hasn't realized that power yet. He tends to go to right field, but 3-1, as he's developed, he's learned to pull that pitch.
Fastball up, and he was hopping all over it. Winslow playing hurt. A stress fracture in his right leg, just no mobility at all. Getting down the line, he's having a lot of trouble moving to his right defensively. You can see how much thicker that right ankle and shin is with all the protection he has on it. Right down the middle, strike 3. He knew it. And like in the second inning, Doug Bennett ends the third with a strikeout. The freshman is fanned 4, walk 3. Shockers leave a runner. They've stranded 2. Middle of the third, Wichita State on top of Arkansas, 3-0.
If you can hit a softball, you can always hit it better. Ray Demarini's Reflex Hitting System, only from ESPN, can make you a better, more consistent hitter. For just $29.95, you'll learn hitting techniques to improve your stance, swing, bat speed, and timing.
Get ready to make yourself a better hitter.
Ray Demarini has been a successful 600-plus hitter from local to national levels of slow-pitch softball. And his exclusive Reflex Hitting System from ESPN Home Video will give you all you need to know for a higher average, greater power, and increased performance, regardless of your size. Be the star of your softball team with the Ray Demarini Reflex Hitting System for only $29.95 from ESPN Home Video. Call 1-800-554-9000 to order today or to get your free catalog of videos from ESPN Home Video.
Welcome back to the College World Series for the 10th consecutive year from Rosenblatt Stadium, Omaha, Nebraska on ESPN. Looking across the Missouri River to the farmlands of Iowa, where the states of Iowa and Nebraska come together. Here in Omaha, it's another gorgeous Nebraska and Iowa afternoon for the College World Series. And as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, Tony Gilmore, Tim Thomas, and Rod Stillwell, the numbers 7, 8, and 9 hitters for Arkansas, will face Greg Brummett, who has not allowed a base runner yet. He's fan 3 and now throws his 4th ground ball. Scooping is Pat Mears. Off the bag, and the tag was missed. Bryant Winslow had one choice, and that was to make the tag on the runner. So Pat Mears pulls Winslow off the bag, and Gilmore is on. Error on the shortstop.
Pat Mears moving over from third base to shortstop. We talked about him being a real good shortstop. Does everything well, sets himself. He has a gun, but he just throws this ball up and in. There's Gilmore running to first base, all out. The ball's up and in. He may have tagged him there, but that's a tough play.
Leadoff man aboard, Tim Thomas, the hitter. Offered to bunt, pulled it back. Ball 1.
Here you see Pat Mears squaring up in front of this baseball. Here's his reaction. Doggone it.
Mike Lansing's absence felt once more. Tony Gilmore aboard. Held on by Winslow, hitting room through the right side for Tim Thomas. Looking to right field, pops it up that way. Out is Forbes, in is Dreifert. The wind plays havoc with the ball. And a pretty good play in right field by Todd Dreifert, who then tried to get the double play. The sun and the breeze a factor.
The only way you can make this play is communication. Watch Todd Dreifert. He's coming in. Steve says, I got it, opening his mouth. P.J. Ford backing off. With that sun, that's a tough play, but communication, as you saw him say, I got it. The second baseman goes out on that play, all out, especially a guy like P.J. Forbes. He's going to try to catch that ball until he hears vocally Todd Dreifert calling him off the ball.
Number 9 hitter, Rod Stillwell, the senior shortstop. Good year at the plate. He's learned to be a good hitter as a veteran. Starts off this game at 348. Swings back and waves the bat.
I was going to say swings at a lot of first pitches. Norm DeBryan says that he needs to learn to get a little deeper in the count. He has vastly improved as a hitter, but he feels like he's a guess hitter, and he gets out front a lot. He gets fooled a lot. He makes up his mind to swing, and he swings at that first pitch a lot, but he didn't right there. That's a good sign.
Runner going, swung to the third baseman. Mike Jones scoops off balance, makes the play. Norm DeBryan starting the runner with 1 on, 1 out. Gilmore into second, 2 down.
Well, Norm DeBryan talked about how much he liked to hit and run. A lot of times 3-0, though, you don't. With a 3-0 lead, you take the offense away. Certainly, he had Eklund swinging 3-0. There he had to hit and run. So he's going to be aggressive, and he doesn't feel like 3-0 is a situation where he needs to set back and become defensive.
He also has a 392 hitter, 300 in the College World Series up next. So that's why he wanted to get Gilmore in scoring position, even if he didn't get the hit and run base hit. Scott Post, 24 RBIs. That's a big run out at second base here, still early for the Razorbacks. And he hits it hard into left center. Over to get it is Audley, and he got there with a diving catch. Tony Gilmore reached on the error to start the inning and would have scored had not Jim Audley made this play.
Jim Audley, great jump on the ball, great concentration. Look at his eyes follow that ball all the way to it, hits the ground hard and holds on to it. Watch his eyes follow the ball all the way to that glove.
The game's best defensive play keeps Arkansas scoreless. Audley, full extension to his right. Only a left-handed center fielder makes that play. A runner stranded, the first one of the game for Arkansas. And as we go to the 4th inning, good defense by the Shockers keeps the Hogs off the scoreboard.
Car and Driver magazine said shut a door and you'll hear a solid thunk. They also said you won't find a buzz or a rattle. Now, doesn't that sound like your kind of car? The 1990 Geo Prism. Geo. And here's a special Geo Prism offer. 2.9% GMAC financing or $400 cash back. Plus, if Geo's your first new car, you can get $600 toward your down payment with GMAC financing at select Chevrolet dealers now.
You're my favorite under the summer. You're the real thing. You're the one. Can't top it. Can't stop it. The feeling you get from a Coca-Cola classic. Can't beat it. Can't beat the real thing. No. Can't beat the feeling.
Tennis. The French Open. Tomorrow. Live on ESPN.
As the French Open continues tomorrow on ESPN, College World Series in action today. Game summary pretty simple so far. 2 walks ahead of the Eric Wedge home run in the first inning. 3-0 Shockers. To the 4th inning we go, and nicely done. Playing with an injury, don't forget that, in center field, Jim Audley.
Now, here we go, Pat.
That was some defensive gem. Pat Mears leads off the 4th inning. First pitch swinging, fouls it back. Let's match up the pitchers for you so far. 3 complete innings, 10 pitches per inning for Brummett, over 20 for Bennett. Bennett has settled down a bit since that Eric Wedge homer. Little high breaking ball there. He got away with it. 0-2.
Well, he's settled down since that first inning. He threw about 30 of those pitches in the first inning, so he has settled down, and I believe he's found his rhythm now. In this ball game, if Arkansas can peck away, scoring a run or 2 at a time, I believe he can shut this team down offensively. At least Norm DeBryan felt that way, or he wouldn't start him. And he certainly, as we said on the beginning of the show, has the ability to do that if he can get down that strike zone.
0-2 delivery, bounces about a foot in front of the plate. Tony Gilmore takes a little practice for later if he needs it with men on base, knocking that one down. The Shockers hitting .324 as a team. They may be one of the few teams in America that, with their combination of power hitting that remains and good pitching, can compensate for the loss of 2 frontline players. Here's the 1-2. Another one, fastball in the dirt.
Bob, I think you're right. They've been able to compete here. They lost Bonakista about halfway during the season. They lost Lansing in the regionals. But when we saw them, Gene Stevenson said they had the best pitching depth, the best offense, the best team speed, and the best defense he's ever had at Wichita State.
Fastball hit into center. Coming on, Scott Poles.
And also, he threw in there the best depth on the bench. But you're talking about 2 or 3 players now that were on the bench that are playing, and now he has no depth on the bench.
And Ray, it brings up an interesting follow-up point as Todd Dreifert steps in. You had the feeling at that time that this ball club, Wichita, along with Texas A&M, from a talent standpoint, were the top 2 in the nation. That doesn't always get you to Omaha.
You're right, Bob. I saw Wichita State first and was totally impressed with their ball club. Then I went to Texas A&M, as we see Bennett. Went to Texas A&M, saw that ball club, and felt that man per man that they were very comparable. That Texas A&M had good offense, good defense, good team speed. The difference I felt was Wichita State was deeper in the pitching department. So that's why I gave the edge to Wichita State of the teams that I had seen.
Todd Dreifert called on strikes his first time. Folks watching from the first base side here at Rosenblatt Stadium on a gorgeous afternoon. It's looked pretty good for Wichita so far. Breaking ball down low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Shockers are 64-16. Arkansas 51-15. That's what happens when you pull that outside pitch. Fastball up and away. Dreifert turned on it, hit an easy one to Tim Thomas.
It also happens when you start throwing more strikes. That ball was up in the strike zone. Out away was not a strike, but he's begun to start throwing more strike, Doug Bennett. And as a result, the hitters are going to start swinging more pitches.
Doug Bennett's now retired 3 hitters in a row. In fact, he's retired 7 of his last 8 with only the walk to Eric Wedge in between. And walking Wedge with 2 outs and the bases empty is not a very bad idea.
You saw the graphic there on Mike Jones, 0 for 8 in this College World Series. He struggled a little bit, and Gene Stevenson said that he was a great platoon player, a great guy to come off the bench and a part-time player. But now that he's started to play every day, that he's begun to struggle. And you find that sometimes, Bobby, even in the big leagues. I remember Chico Ruiz says, bench me or trade me. A lot of guys did not want to play. They loved to play in the big leagues, but they were spot players, and they could do well when the pressure wasn't on. But day in and day out, they just couldn't handle that type of pressure.
Bench me or trade me. I love it. 2 balls and a strike. Pat Mears, of course, was the third baseman with Mike Lansing healthy. He has to move to shortstop, thus Jones into the lineup. Well hit, center field. Up into the breeze. Scott Post chasing it, and it's off the wall on a hop. It takes a high bounce, and that may enable him to get a triple. He'll be standing at third base with 2 down. He hit that ball about 415 feet.
Scott Poe's going with everything he has, but the wind is blowing out real strong to center field, and he just can't catch up to that ball. That ball was a good 20 feet more over his head, and he was running full tilt from the get. That ball got up in the air, and as the last 2 days, the wind has begun to blow out, and this field's beginning to play much smaller than that 420 on its center field sign.
Then when it took the high hop off the wall, Jones easily was able to make third. Joey Wilson, the senior DH, hit the ball hard, lining out to right his first time. Mike Jones suddenly 2 for 2. He got the officials' change on that fly ball to right field in the second inning, change from an error to a hit. Then he triples solidly to center field.
That's right. So now he's 2 for 8, but he must have heard me. He got mad when he heard that 0 for 8 up here.
On the inside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike to Joey Wilson. This is a player used previously off the bench as a pinch runner. Rangy guy. He's 6'5", has good speed. Down low.
Stevenson made the change with Joey Wilson simply because he has great speed. He says he is not a real good hitter, a good defensive ball player with great speed, but he put him in there just hoping you could get on base.
I was just looking over the statistics of Mike Jones. That was his 2nd double of the year. He has 9 homers, 20 doubles. So he has right around 31 extra base hits and 180 some at bats. When he gets on, it's usually at second or at third. Two pitch coming with 2 outs.
This is a good situation for Doug Bennett. That high fastball or a good breaking ball here, I believe, will get Joey Wilson. He has a tendency to chase a lot of pitches.
A little late on the fastball, and it's off to the right.
And that information comes directly from Gene Stevenson, because I haven't seen Joey Wilson play this year. He hasn't played much, but due to all the injuries, he's getting a chance here as DH.
Big breaking ball for the strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Doug Bennett, who started off shaky, but is battling the hard-hitting Shockers right now. A 2-out triple by Mike Jones. He's stranded. The Shockers have left 3 in the ballgame. Middle of the 4th, still 3-0 Wichita.
There's a myth wandering around business today. It says you have to be big to have an 800 number. A particularly abominable myth. In truth, AT&T has an 800 service any size business can afford. It works on your existing phone line with no special installation. So the only thing disturbing about this myth is if you believe it. AT&T, call us. Find out how competitive our prices really are.
It's time to review your insurance needs with MetLife. Get Met. It pays.
You've just discovered your car has a clear coat finish, which your ordinary wax just ruined. New Simonized non-abrasive wax won't scratch today's clear coat finishes, and that'll save you a lot of grief.
Arkansas Razorbacks 4 times to Omaha in the last 11 seasons. From 79 inclusive up through 89. They've never finished worse than 5th, and they've split their first 2 games in Norm DeBriyn's 4th appearance with his ball club at Rosenblatt Stadium. They've got some offensive work to do against Greg Brummett. They are hitless with only 1 base runner through 3. Grayson Lyles, the freshman DH, called on strikes his first time, leads off. Over the pitcher's head, up the middle. P.J. Forbes catches up, and the throw is off the bag. He had to go off balance. There was not time to plant the foot. That could be ruled a hit.
P.J. Forbes has great range. Watch how quick step. He runs about 10 or 12 steps here, backhands the ball, but going away, he has not enough arm strength to throw this guy out here.
Well, yeah, they give him a hit on the play. Had Winslow been able to hang on the bag, an on-target throw would have been in time to get the runner. But a hit is given, and Troy Eklund is the batter. That's one of those plays, if it's about the top of the 8th inning and there's a no-hitter going on, might be scored a little differently.
Well, that's a very tough effort. If you saw how hard he had to go for that ball, it's a tough play. I played second base my second 2 years in professional baseball, and going that way, you always have a tendency to throw the ball toward home plate, the home plate side of first base, that is.
A lot of Arkansas folks are up here from the land of opportunity following their ball club. The Hogs have an opportunity to play Florida State. If they can come from behind and beat Wichita here this afternoon, the loser goes home. Miami and LSU battle tonight. That winner will be still alive to take on 2nd seed Texas Thursday. Ball and a strike to Troy Eklund, who grounded out to the right side his first time.
Well, this is the part of the lineup. If Arkansas is going to do any damage, in my estimation, this is where it's going to happen. Troy Eklund, their best pure hitter, and then Greg Alexander next. So what you want to do right here is get a little bit going. 3-run lead's not that much, and these guys are contact hitters.
Popped up into the outfield. P.J. Forbes takes it for the first out. Razorbacks need some production from the middle of that lineup. Greg D. Alexander will be next. Alexander called on strikes his first time.
And as you saw again, Norm DeBryan trying to get something generated, starts the runner and little hit and run play, but Troy Eklund hit the ball in the air.
Fastball outside. He might be a little more reluctant to send the runner with this big guy at the plate. Although Lyles gets a big lead and gets back. Lyles, a freshman DHing, has run twice this year, has not been caught stealing. He's holding as it's outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
You know, Bob, you asked me the question about Eklund swinging 3-0 earlier. There's some almost unwritten rules in baseball, or some rules that people go by, and 3-0 swinging behind in ball games, 2 or 3 runs, you just don't do it. Running behind 3 runs in a ball game, you just don't do it, because all that run does, it gets you 1 run back. And there's always a possibility of getting thrown out. Certainly if you have a guy like a Willie Wilson or a Ricky Henderson and they give you the stolen base, you'll take it, because that 1 run makes it a 2-run ball game. But hitting 3-0 in a situation with 2 outs to me, is not good baseball. And I know in the major leagues, I don't care if you've got a Mike Schmidt up there or someone that hits home runs all the time. Even if he jacks the ball out of the ballpark, it's still 3-1. And you're trying to create that offense and have the bigger innings by getting runners on base.
Norm DeBryan going against the book a couple of times here today. It's 3-0 again. He evidently feels there won't be much margin for error hitting against Greg Brummett, so he's trying to make something happen.
And
that's swinging again.
But that's a little different situation right here. You have Greg DeAlexander, who is their leading hitter on the ball club. 3-0 ball game. I like that strategy. 3-0, he can one swing of the bat get you back in this ball game. You have a runner on first base. I don't see anything wrong with that play. 3-0 with your great hitter up at the plate.
Fly ball, well hit right field. Battling the sun, Todd Dreifert. It dies near the track, and he takes it for the second out.
Todd Dreifert going back on this ball with his sunglasses down and his gloves shading his face. He drops the glove down as he sees the ball come out of the sun and makes the play.
Nicely executed in right field by Todd Dreifert. Who was on the bench earlier this year with Jeff Bonaquista, the everyday right fielder. Bubba Carpenter, trying to bunt his way aboard the first time, was thrown out by the pitcher.
Bob, you only have so many guys in your lineup that can generate power and generate offense, a big bang type innings. And DeAlexander is that guy, along with Troy Eklund. I wouldn't have said anything if there'd have been a runner on base with Troy Eklund, but there you go, another situation.
Lyles
right here.
Picked off, and it'll go 1-3-4 as the Arkansas inning comes to a close. Things look promising for the Hogs. They got the leadoff man aboard with the numbers 3 and 4 hitters coming up. He stayed there as they were retired, then got picked off. It's 3-0 after 4.
Mercury introduces Cougar XR7. Supercharger. Speed-sensitive steering. Anti-lock brakes. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
Like a Mercury.
8 years after their first battle, two fighters resume one of boxing's great rivalries. Now they step into the ring again for the long-awaited rematch. This time, the war is on. Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hitman Hearns go to battle on June 12th at Caesars Palace.
Ladies and gentlemen, Budweiser presents the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
Live from the NBA Finals, live from the Leonard Hearns Championship, live from the Belmont Stakes. All this week, reports from the biggest events live on ESPN SportsCenter.
ESPN's presentation of the 1989 NCAA College World Series from Omaha is brought to you by Audi. Conform to the road, not the rules. Audi, the alternate route. And by Qantas, the airline of Australia, and the experts to the South Pacific.
We talked a little bit about smart baseball. Right here he gets picked off, 3 runs down, 2 outs. I don't know how to explain it to you. Perfectly executed rundown play where you start to run and the second baseman starts back to the man and makes the tag. One throw type rundown, but I don't understand how and again, Major League Baseball, college baseball, or any type baseball, when you're down 3 runs, that run doesn't mean anything, and you make too many mistakes or you make a lot of mistakes when you do that. And you can't afford to make mistakes and run into outs.
Jim Ottley has walked, scored, and fanned. But his big contribution has been with the glove. Arkansas would have scored in the second inning were it not for this play. They had a runner at second, 2 outs when Audley ranged into left center. 2-0 pitch, fastball upstairs.
And there it gives you a good example right there of what I'm talking about, of playing good, solid baseball. 2-0 pitch. Jim Audley does not even offer it the ball. He's taken all the way to get on that bag. He wants more runs. He doesn't feel 3 runs is enough, and you could say he's going to swing 2-0, but no, he's going to take and get on base.
Now he'll make the pitcher throw at least 5 offerings to him. The 3 balls, the automatic strike. And now pitch number 5 comes as Audley leads off ahead of P.J. Forbes and Mike McDonald.
And he's not afraid to go to 3-2 in the count. Another thing, he's taking another pitch right there because he feels he's a good 2-strike hitter. He's going to go as deep in the count as he possibly can. He's seen 5 pitches now, so he has a real good idea about velocity and movement.
Fastball up and away. Takes it far. Ball 4. 4th walk issued by Doug Bennett, who has fanned 5, given the Shockers 2 hits, 3 hits.
And Bob, you're talking about working a pitcher. That's a great example of working a pitcher. Going 2-0, taking a pitch, 2-1. Going to 3-0, taking a pitch, 3-1, making the pitcher come to you at 3-2. It wasn't what he wanted. 3-2, he walks. He throws him 6 pitches, and he gets on base.
P.J. Forbes has hit the ball well twice. He's been robbed by Bubba Carpenter at first, and then a good play 2 innings later by Greg D. Alexander at third.
Well, Jim Audley, a great base stealer, 37 out of 42, and P.J. Forbes puts the bat on the ball. Let's see if Stevenson plays aggressive baseball here. Now's the time that you can be very aggressive. 3-run lead, they're down. You want to generate enough offense that you bury these guys as early as you can. You want that dugout over there to start dropping their heads about the 5th or 6th inning, saying, hey, we're going to have a tough time coming back on these guys.
Audley holds as the pitch is up high. The only question about Jim Audley here, Ray, as Mark Swope warms up for the 2nd time today in the Arkansas bullpen, would be how well can Audley push off that left ankle to get started towards second base.
And I think that's what's we're going to see right here. If he can run, he's going to go pretty soon, I believe. 1-0, 2-1, he'll go. If he can't, then you'll see something different.
He won't have to go if Bennett keeps throwing the ball that far out of the strike zone. Another fastball way up. Doug Bennett struggling out of the stretch position here.
And there's Norm DeBryan making the move already. He's making the move already. He's already sent to that signal to that bullpen.
He has the hook with him. As Bennett is gone, Swope is on with 1 man on, nobody out yet in the top of the 5th inning. Wichita State on top 3-0. Leadoff man aboard, and now they're into the Arkansas bullpen. We'll bring you back to Omaha with a pitching change in a moment.
If you thought you had to give up comfort to get a close shave, Norelco says, think again. Their revolutionary shaving system shaves skin close in a way that's incredibly comfortable. As the hair enters the chamber, the patented lift and cut system lifts each hair and holds it a split second before a blade cuts it, so it's possible to shave skin close without the blades even touching the skin. The lift and cut shaving system from Norelco. We made close comfortable.
Ortho, air conditioners, pressure
Builder Square. We buy by the trainload. Direct from top manufacturers. There's no middleman, no frills, no membership fees. And at Builder Square, we won't be undersold. Ever. Builder Square, where the values keep rolling on. Because the more we sell, the lower the price.
Rather short outing for freshman Doug Bennett, who pitches 4+ innings, gives 3 hits, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, a home run. He threw 90 pitches in less than 5 innings, not a good ball-to-strike ratio. There's the line we talked about, not included the big homer by Eric Wedge after 2 of those 4 walks in the 1st inning. So on is Mark Swope for Arkansas. Swope with a record of 7-1, couple of saves, an ERA of just over 3. He's pitched 78 innings almost. In that time, striking out 56 and walking 31.
Well, Mark Swope, according to Norm DeBryan, could be his number 2 or 3 starter. But he's been more valuable in relief in the bullpen due to the fact that Norm had no one else down there that could throw strikes. He has a fastball that he keeps down, a slurve, and a curveball, 2 types of breaking ball, and a changeup that he throws a lot.
P.J. Forbes with a count of 2-0. There's There's a strike. If Swope was to go ahead and walk this hitter, it would be a 5th walk charge to Doug Bennett.
And what Norm DeBrian knows is there's no tomorrow. He has great confidence in Mark Swope, and he's going to him right here to say, keep us in this ball game. He didn't know that if Bennett could do that or not, but he feels certain that Mark Swope can keep them in this ball game.
Jammed him on 2-1, got the foul. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And I don't know what it is, but these guys come out of the bullpen, the good relievers, and sometimes they have a knack for just throwing that double play ball. He's come from 2-0 back to 2-2, and the Arkansas defense would love to see a ground ball right at somebody. This would really turn the inning around and the hopes of the Razorbacks. Little nubber.
Especially a guy like Mark Swope. That's why he's in that bullpen, because he has a good movement on fastballs. The best pitchers in Major League Baseball, I think, are the relievers, because they have those real strong arms. All the guys that you see that throw real hard with great movement and really yakking type breaking balls, they seem to make relievers.
Big breaking ball hit in the air. Out of play left side. If you're going to get a double play, that's not the pitch to get it with. It was a breaking ball hanging, but fortunately it was up high out of the strike zone.
Well, that's not a real good pitch selection there, but I haven't seen Mark Swope pitch a lot. You want to look, you feel like he's going to throw a ball down in the strike zone. It sinks, and he really does keep that fastball down. That is his best pitch, but they must feel something right now in this situation that's the pitch they want to throw, because B.J. Forbes is a contact hitter, and they think that they may can fool him with that breaking ball.
Jim Ottley, 37 steals in 42 attempts, but hampered with a bad ankle. Back easily.
One thing about P.J., he's going to make contact. He's made contact all year. He's the type of hitter that goes up there and swings the bat, and if he throws him a sinker, he may hit it on the ground, but he hits the ball very, very hard for a little man. He's got 26 doubles and 13 triples.
Runner goes, pitch in the dirt, throw is in time, and they've got him. Tony Gilmore with a nice tailing throw to second base.
He gets a good jump there, but that must have been a hit and run play. But with 2 strikes, I don't think it was a hit and run play, but he did glance back toward the plate. Usually that's what happens on a hit and run, but with 2 strikes, it wasn't a hit and run. It was a straight steal. He just looked in to see what happened. And Tony Gilmore, with the great arm, fires him out.
Look out in the bullpen. Hogs scrambling as P.J. Forbes lined one down the left side.
And that might be one reason why they're not running. He looked like he was running pretty good there, but Arkansas, as we said before, is the #1 defensive team in the nation, and Tony Gilmore has a great throwing arm. Not a good throwing arm, but a great throwing arm, and is very accurate.
Good breaking ball, down low, and popped up into left field. Troy Eklund awaits, and he's got it. That hitter retired closes the book on Doug Bennett. The walks stay at 4. He pitches 4+ innings and gives 3 runs on 3 hits. Base is empty, 2 outs, and Mike McDonald is the hitter. McDonald walked and scored ahead of Wedge's homer in the first inning. Flied out to left field with 1 out in the 3rd. Breaking ball in the dirt. And if you're Arkansas here, you want to be careful to this big guy, but at the same time, you'd like to go after him. Base is empty, 2 outs. You don't want to see Eric Wedge batting in this inning.
And you're right, and I think Mark Swope is a type of pitcher that has enough command that he's careful with everybody, and that he has good enough command that he never throws the ball over the fat part of the plate.
Rod Stillwell will handle the easy bouncer, and Swope comes on to do the job. He gets 1 man on a fly ball, another caught stealing, and a grounder, and the Shockers are gone in the top of the 5th. We're halfway through the ball game. Wichita hitting Arkansas 3-1 and leading 3-0.
One of the great advantages of doing business with a firm like Schwab is that you're dealing with professionals across the whole country.
They're creating financial advantages for the individual investor.
Many companies reward their employees with stock options. That's why we offer an option financing service. It's flexible, convenient, and enables our customers to enjoy the full rewards they've earned.
Our Schwab One account is a good example of how we give investors an edge. At other brokerage firms, it takes $20,000 to open an asset management account. At Schwab, it only takes $5,000. And we give daily interest on investment funds, check writing privileges, and a lot more.
To me, one Schwab difference is very clear. Most brokers are good talkers. Schwab brokers are good listeners.
Call now for free information about Schwab's no-fee asset management account. 800-346-9400. That's 800-346-9400. Call Schwab now.